Madani Muzakra, Madani Muzakra, Madani Muzakra, Madani Muzakra.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen, amma ba'd. فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله نويت سنة الاعتكاف. Whenever you get the honor of entering a masjid, always remember to make the intention of i'tikaf. Intention refers to the intent of the heart, so make this intention in your heart that I make the intention of Sunnah i'tikaf. You'll keep obtaining reward without any effort for as long as you stay inside the masjid. And remember that eating, drinking, sleeping, having suhoor or iftar, drinking zamzam water or water with dam performed on it, or eating niyaz in a masjid will be permissible only when the intention of i'tikaf had already been made from beforehand. In case you had not made the intention of i'tikaf and now food comes in the masjid, now you can't eat it. And the intention of i'tikaf cannot be made for eating or drinking only either. Nevertheless, make the intention of i'tikaf for earning reward, and then perform some zikr or send some salat upon the Prophet. For example, recite salat upon the Prophet 12 times. And now you may eat, drink or sleep. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ala Muhammad. Booklet Blessings of Salat and Salam, page number 2, saying of the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, number 3. He who recites salat upon me once, Allah Almighty sends 10 mercies upon him and writes 10 good deeds in his book of deeds. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ala Muhammad.
My question in the court of Amir of Ahl Sunnah is that when a person returns from performing Hajj, or like many other people return after performing Hajj, how should we congratulate them?
The noble elders have written that when a person comes back from Hajj, you should meet him and request him for du'as. The du'a of a Haji is accepted until 20th of Rabiul Awwal. One should ask him to make the dua of forgiveness. There's no harm in congratulating him either. It's common in our society. Like Hajj Mabruk, meaning that may your Hajj be blessed. May Allah accept your Hajj. This is also good to say. However, some people put Hajis into difficulty by asking things like, did you make dua for us? Did you take our name in the dua? Did you convey our salam in the court of the Prophet ﷺ by taking our name? These are a matter of so much concern, because it's obvious that remembering the names over there is difficult. This shouldn't be asked, because in this case the poor Haji may say yes out of confusion, thinking that if I say no, he might mind it. And the Haji will fall into lying if he falsely says yes. So therefore, such kind of questions should not be asked. You will normally see people asking others that, do you make dua for us or not? This shouldn't be asked. The other person will fall into difficulty. And many kinds of questions are prevalent in our society. How did you like our food? How did you like our house? How do you like my new car? How do you like my clothes? How do I look? And then, how's my voice? How did you like my speech? How was my naat? These things are not asked. If the other person wants to praise you, he will do it himself. You don't ask for it yourself. This is quite common amongst the women. They will need some kind of feedback for the food that they would have cooked. As in, how's the food? Now she'll of course like it only if someone says that yes, the food is really nice. If the person says that it was overspiced, or there was too much salt in it, or it was not cooked properly, it was still left uncooked. If such kind of feedback is given to her, then of course she wouldn't like it. So one shouldn't ask. If there's a truthful person, he may end up saying all this, which of course you wouldn't like. And otherwise the person will lie that yes, I enjoyed the food. Was your travel okay? Now present all this report. of the journey. It is stated in a hadith, As-safaru qit'atul adhabi. It is the part of a hadith of Bukhari that travel is a piece of torture, as difficulties and calamities are faced in a travel. And the common public also end up replying that yes, everything was fine, the journey was okay, I've reached safe and sound, the journey was safe without any problem. Now the amount of sins that a person goes with, he returns back accumulating more sins than that, and he says that I've come back safe and sound. Then what can a person say regarding his safety? May Allah Almighty bless us with sound wisdom. If someone does reach safe and sound, then there is no harm in saying it. I'm just saying it to develop a cautious mindset. Our state is such that every moment our sins are being increased. And we say that we're safe and sound. May Allah bless us with true safety. The safety of the heart, the safety of the inner self. Physical safety of the apparent body is often experienced, and at times is not. In reality, if our soul is safe, our soul gets reformed, our inner self gets reformed, our heart gets reformed, our mind gets reformed, our thoughts get reformed, then we are good. Then we are safe. Then we are sound. Rest, where will be safety from? Imam Ghazali rahimahullah has stated that he who kept a fast, he can now say that inshallah, I've kept a fast, as in inshallah I kept a fast, like I'll keep a fast when Allah wills, whereas he has kept a fast. Regarding this, it is said that it means that it will be deemed as a fast only if Allah accepts it, otherwise it wouldn't be a fast. Now whether he accepted it or not, we do not have any kind of guarantee for this with certainty. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad.
My question is that which action is such that performing it will make us closest to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Act upon the Sunnahs abundantly and obey the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When we obey him and act upon the Sunnahs, it is understood that Faraid and Wajibat are included within his obedience. And inshallah, if you recite Salat upon the Prophet in abundance, then you'll attain proximity in the prophetic court as well. It all depends upon his grace. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad.
How many people will be interceded by one Hafiz?
The excellence of Hafiz that has been mentioned is regarding that Hafiz who considers halal to be halal and haram to be haram, and he also acts upon the Holy Quran.
Alright.
And his hifz also remains. Now people do become Hafiz and also Hafiza, but they gradually forget the memorized Quran. There will be a number of Hafaz who will be called Hafiz but they wouldn't remember the Quran. Or they lead the Tarawih during the month of Ramadan al-Kareem, and that too only to earn money. You'll find a number of people who do this for money. And that too 1 or 2 months prior to Ramadan, they start panicking that we have to now memorize the manzil of the Quran. They go to different people and ask them to make dua for them. Now what can a person say regarding these kind of Hufaz? May Allah Almighty guide them. He who memorizes the Quran for the pleasure of Allah Almighty and considers its halal to be halal and haram to be haram, and acts upon the commandments of the Holy Quran, there are special excellences for such kind of Hufaz. And such Hufaz will intercede for their parents. A crown will be placed on their parents' heads, meaning those who memorize the Quran, crown will be placed upon their parents' heads on the Day of Judgment. Nonetheless, a true Hafiz is he who memorizes the Quran for the sake of Allah Almighty. It shouldn't be only to be called Hafiz. That's what many people do nowadays. They are not Hafiz as they've forgotten the Quran. But then you'll also find some who are very strong Hufaz, but they are less in quantity. It is easy to memorize the Quran, but to retain it is more difficult. If a Hafiz keeps revising it every day and revises at least 1 manzil every day, then his hifz will remain very strong. Inshallah, it will remain very firm. If he cannot recite 1 manzil a day, then at least recite 1 part per day. Now if one is not to even look at the Quran or open it, then it's very difficult for him to retain the hifz. and to forget the Quran deliberately, this contains its own devastation. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad.
My question is that whenever I perform any pious deed, offer salah or help someone, I feel that I am very sinful servant of Allah Almighty. I don't know whether my action has been accepted in the court of Allah Almighty or not. I always get these whispers that whether my actions have been accepted or not. So please bless us with Madani pearls in this regard.
One should have both fear as well as hope. The fear should be that my worship is not worthy of Allah's court. And one should also keep hope upon Allah's mercy that my action will also be accepted for the sake of the pious people of Allah. So neither should a person self-presume that he is a very pious person, telling everyone that I did this, I did that, as is the habit of many people. Unfortunately, and nor should a person be despair of Allah's mercy. A person should not turn away from the mercy of Allah Almighty, as He will definitely accept our action out of His grace. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad.
Will Salatul Jum'ah be valid at the time of Zawal?
When the time of Zuhr starts, there is also the time of Jum'ah. There are certain conditions for Jum'ah Salah, as when we talk about the Zuhr Salah, then any person who meets the requirements of becoming an Imam may lead it. But for Jum'ah, there are more conditions in addition to this. So in case of meeting the conditions, its time starts after Zawal. So the time for Zuhr starts after the time of Zawal.
The name of our beloved Prophet ﷺ is Ahmad or Muhammad.
It is Ahmad as well as Muhammad. And there are many more as well.
Will nikah of a woman be valid in iddat?
No. It is haram to even send her marriage proposal during her iddah.
I'm in problems and really worried nowadays. Could you please guide me any dua?
May Allah alleviate the hardship and give blessings in sustenance. The following wazifa is very useful for this. After Isha Salah, under open sky, bareheaded, recite Ya Musabbib al-Asbab 500 times, with salat upon the Prophet 11 times before and 11 times after. Keep reciting this every day. If Allah wills, ways of sustenance will open from the unseen, inshallah.
Did Sayyidina Nuh ala nabiyina wa alayhi salatu wassalam lived for 1,000 years in this world?
It is mentioned in the Malfuzat of A'la Hazrat that Sayyidina Nuh lived in this world for 1600 years.
Brother Khurram has asked a question from Miyawali. That male who performs more Hajj, he is called Al-Hajj. Question is, what will that female be called who performs more Hajj?
Well, the questioner has already determined that the one who performs more than one Hajj is called Al-Hajj. He who performs one Hajj is also Al-Hajj. This mentality and concept is a norm here in Pakistan. That one Hajj makes a person Haji and more than one Hajj makes a person Al-Hajj, which is not the case. And in Arabic, every Haji is referred to as Al-Hajj. And when a woman performs the Hajj, she is called Hajjah or Hajjan over here, which is not very common over here. Men are normally called Hajis, women are normally not addressed accordingly, Hajjah or Hajjan. In our Memon language, it's Hajiani. Same is the term used in Gujarati. So Hajiani is a common term in Memon and Gujarati. It's not an Urdu word. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad.
My question in the court of the Amir of Ahlul Sunnah is that we have seen the visuals of your visit to Makkah al-Mukarramah and Medina al-Munawwarah, but we have not seen the visuals of you visiting the blessed Muwajaha. Please state something in this regard.
It's been many years since I have not visited the blessed Muwajaha. I did visit Medina al-Munawwarah, but not the blessed Muwajaha because they didn't feel worthy of it, that I present myself there. Every person's nature varies. Hazrat Allama Muhammad Sharif Kotlavi Rahmatullahi alayhi states that Sayyiduna Allama Yusuf bin Ismail Nabhani Rahmatullahi alayhi, who is a scholar from the past, he is a contemporary of Sayyidi Qutb Medina. He's also written books. He was a famous scholar, a famous Sunni scholar, a great devotee of the Prophet. So in Masjid al-Nabawi ala sahibih salatu wa taslim, there's a famous door that is called Babus Salam, which is in the direction of the blessed head of the Holy Prophet alayhi salatu was salam. So he says that, I used to see a noble person with an illuminated face by Babus Salam. He used to sit there. So once I met him and some introduction was made. He says that I had heard about him, that he's a scholar, so I also introduced myself to him. I asked him that you are normally seen over here and you are never seen going towards the blessed Muwajaha. To which he responded, this is already the grace of the Prophet, that he has allowed me to come to his blessed door. And I've reached here, and a loyal dog's responsibility is to guard the door. He doesn't go inside the house. So he gave such kind of answer that was full of love and devotion. There have also been such awliya who came to Medina and they would neither sleep nor sit down. Sitting down in salah and performing sujood is a different matter. Other than this, they would always stay in the state of qiyam. They remained standing for all the time that they stayed in Medina. What can a person say about this? Everyone has their own way of showing love and respect, and as long as love does not contradict the Sharia, it will of course be praised. It is something good, praiseworthy, and very encouraging. And then there are some awliya who when they visit Medina walk backwards the entire Medina. They walk backwards all the way. This was their love. Sayyiduna Imam Malik rahimahullah had the finest of the horses of Khurasan. Those horses were tied at his door. And someone visited him who talked about the horses. And he said that take all the horses. And he said at least keep one for yourself. To which he responded that no, not at all. In this city, the land which has kissed the blessed feet of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how can I trample it under the hooves of my horses? As in I make horses run on it? No, not at all. I cannot do this. So Imam Malik rahimahullah would not ride an animal in Medina al-Munawwara. Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa radiyallahu anha would not let anyone use hammer or something that would create noise in Medina. She wouldn't let anyone hammer nails, etc., as it would bother the beloved Prophet. The Prophet is alive, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So all this kind of work used to take place outside Medina. To answer the call of nature, there was a specific designated place outside Medina where the people would normally go to relieve themselves. And all the labor and repair work and any such work which involved repairs and maintenance work used to be carried out outside Medina, and there used to be only peace in Medina. To the extent that even in the Turk era, it was very reverent environment. They partook in many construction works of Masjid al-Nabawi. It's a great honor for them. The signs of their constructions are still present today. And those honored individuals, when they needed to engrave a stone or cut a marble tile, etc. to its actual size, then they would take all this outside Medina and do all the engraving, cutting, etc. over there. And they all used to be the Hufaz of the Quran. They would recite the Holy Quran as well as carry out this noble work. And anything that required to be built or constructed within Medina, like a minaret, etc., then they would gradually fix it using a rubber hammer. They would ensure not to make any noise in Medina. That's the type of devotees they were. And this fact can be openly witnessed, that the minarets that were built in their era exist even today. May Allah Almighty enable us all to behold them. They have a unique kind of shine in them which is even obvious in the pictures. You can see the clear shine in the pictures. Even when the lights are switched off, the minarets that were built in the Turk era, they will appear illuminating. You will see a natural shine in them itself, and the shine is still there despite the passing of so much time. And those that were built afterwards, they don't have the same shine. Whereas how much technology has advanced since that time and how many enhancements there have been. But where will they bring Prophet's devotees' hands from? They were built with the hands of Prophet's devotees. They have shine in them. Even their pictures show that. The blessed minarets. There's a clear difference between those minarets and the ones that were built recently. Now, in this picture, have a look at it yourself, that is there any minaret that looks shinier than the other minarets? On your TV screen, you can see a minaret on your right-hand side, which is apparently closer to the green dome. Take a closer look at this minaret, which is on the right-hand side of your TV screen and closer to the green dome. And the one that is on the left-hand side of the screen. Have a look at it now and look at it carefully. This one, the one on the left-hand side, is shinier. It has more shine in it. May Allah enable us to behold it physically as well. It has nur and shine in it. And it was built during the Turk era. Even in the picture, mashallah, you can see nur on it. Mashallah, all of them are full of nur. The whole atmosphere is full of nur. But the ones that were built by the hands of Prophet's devotees, you can see a clear difference in them. Now they're all mixed up. But the one that is right at the front, in the picture, was built in the Turk era. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad.
My question in the court of Amir of Sunnah is that it has been observed in the society that despite Hajj being fard upon people, despite having the means and money, they still don't perform Hajj. What do you say in their regard?
The one upon whom Hajj is fard and he doesn't perform it. Regarding him, it has been stated in a hadith that he may die as a Christian or a Jew, as in there's a risk of a bad end for him. May Allah keep our Iman protected. So the one upon whom Hajj becomes fard, he has to perform it.
Brother Musaddiq Hussain has asked a question. If someone said sorry to his friend but he is not forgiving, what should he do? Please guide in this regard.
He should forgive him. It is mentioned in a hadith that the one to whom his brother comes with an apology and he doesn't forgive him, he will not get to come to the pond of Kauthar. So he who doesn't forgive will not get to go to the pond of Kauthar. Therefore, one should forgive the other person who comes with an apology.
Naveed Ahmed is asking a question. Can niyaz be done for any Muslims, isale thawab, or it is done only for pious saints?
Now you see, you normally say to a younger kid, let's sit down. And to an elder you say, please sit down. Both these statements mean the same, let's sit down. But the latter is more respectful. In the same way, for the isale thawab of an ordinary person, the food that is cooked is referred to as the food of Fatiha. Like it is the Fatiha of our grandfather. It is the annual basi of our grandfather. And when it would be of a wali of the pious people of Allah, then we will say that it is the urs of so and so wali of Allah and niyaz of so and so wali. So it's same like Fatiha food, and the urs is same as barsi. But the choice of words when referring to a wali are more respectful. So isale thawab can be done for every Muslim. However, the food that is cooked for the isale thawab of an ordinary Muslim is not called niyaz. That is the common norm in our society. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad.
Someone has asked a question. If someone does not behave well with others and he himself is fed up with this habit, and people also tell him about his bad behavior, that he doesn't do good and behave well, is it okay for people to say like this? Will people saying will change that person? Someone has posted this question on YouTube. Please reply this question.
At times he in fact can bring a positive change, but first thing first he should come to know that people are fed up of him, and as for that he wants to be reformed but doesn't get reformed. In this case, he should make utmost efforts to get reformed. And the thing is that if he sincerely makes the efforts, then he will get positive results, and he will avail nothing if his efforts are not sincere. As it is said, it is a made-up story that a person was stuck in mud and he was unable to come out of it. So there was another person, and what he did was that he took out his gun. And right at the moment when he pointed that gun at him, then restlessly he jumped up and down with full force and came out of the mud and ran away. So the other person threw the gun away and started to laugh, saying that my intention wasn't to kill you. You weren't trying hard enough and making sincere efforts to get out of the mud. Now you succeeded in coming out of the mud because you had the fear of losing your life. So such a person who has developed this mindset that I'm just unable to get reformed, then the thing is that his efforts are weak. I can't offer salah, I cannot abandon sins. Imagine if a person is buried in a grave just for 1 hour. Keeping him alive. You provide him basic necessities like oxygen, etc. so he doesn't pass away. This is just an example to make you understand. So, after coming out, he will repent sincerely. Or let's say someone does actually pass away, and he goes through the death throes and all those severities for 1 hour. He's buried in his grave, and then snakes and scorpions come. And then he resurrects. Now after resurrecting, he'll never go back to his sins. There are Quranic verses as well on this.
لو أن لي كرة فأكون من المحسنين. Somehow if I could be sent back so that I may do good deeds.
So we have respite right now. There wouldn't be any respite after we die. There was an elite Tabi'i wali who had dug a grave inside his house. Now he was a wali of Allah. He wouldn't be negligent or heedless at all. But anyhow, whenever he would think that he's being heedless, then he would lie inside the grave. And he would make himself fearful, thinking that now I've passed away and I'm lying in the grave. He would contemplate in this manner, and then he would say to himself that, okay, you're given another chance now. And then he would come out of the grave, saying to himself that you are given another chance, now do not be heedless. Perform a lot of worship and pious deeds. So this is how they would reflect. So the awliya had their own unique ways. So nevertheless, he who doesn't get reformed, this is how he should make himself fearful. Allah willing, the passion of reformation will develop further inside him. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ala Muhammad.
My question in the court of Amir of Ahl Sunnah is that what is the difference between lying and making an excuse?
Lying is, of course, a lie, and at times some excuses are also a lie. Now, what would be the definition of making an excuse?
Lying is which is something against reality. Someone stated something which did not actually happen. Whereas in excuses, both things are possible.
So the opposite of truth is lie. And excuses at times consist of lying and at times of truth. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ala Muhammad.
Ya Sayyidi, my question was that we often get whispers regarding our deceased relatives and loved ones, that had we done this, they would have survived. What do you say regarding this?
Allah. It happened exactly as Allah Almighty had destined it for. Now we inevitably have to die, and death has no cure. Everyone has to die. Now falling prey to such whispers in regards to the person who's passed away is adding worries and anxieties for yourself. Keep a hope on the mercy of Allah Almighty and pray to Allah Almighty that may He forgive him without accountability. And just suppose that even if he comes back, he will have to depart again, as everyone has to die. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ala Muhammad. Saying of the Holy Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, La ilaha illallah al-Halim al-Kareem, Subhanallahi Rabbi samawati sab'i wa Rabbil arshil azim. Whoever recited this 3 times, it is as if he found Laylatul Qadr. Let's recite it together. La ilaha illallah Al-Halim al-Kareem, Subhanallahi Rabbi samawati as-sab'i wa Rabbil arshil azim. La ilaha illallah Al-Halim al-Kareem, Subhanallahi رب السماوات السبع ورب العرش العظيم. لا إله إلا الله الحليم الكريم سبحان الله رب السماوات السبع ورب العرش العظيم. صلوا على الحبيب صلى الله على محمد. Sayyiduna Abdullah bin Amr bin As radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma states that whoever recites this dua 3 times at the end of any gathering, his sins are forgiven. And whoever recites it in a pious gathering and a gathering of zikr, goodness will be sealed upon for him. Let's recite it together. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك صلوا على الحبيب صلى الله على محمد.
Madani Muzakra, Madani Muzakra.